Hi, Rita.
Hi, I'm glad you're here. Oh, do you hear an echo?
I'm
No.
sorry. My sound is down, so I'm not on my phone right now.
Oh, okay, okay. No problem. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started with the training, and then we have Q&A after that. If you are on the replay and you would like to watch this every week, we do this live every Thursday, and this is a free broadcast, question and answer, and about 20 minutes of training on business systems to start with. You can scan this QR code and register for the training, and then you'll get regular reminders, only 2 reminders a week to help you remember to be here so you can see all the great training and get all the good tips. So, welcome to the Systems Rescue Power Hour. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're talking about lead generation that saves time. And who doesn't want to do that, right? If we can save time in our processes, then we can sell more product, make more appointments, have a better life, enjoy more leisure time, right? So we're going to use automation in this week in the lead generation process so we can have more time back to do whatever we want with it. Now, I know that phrase can sound a little technical, but what I really want to talk about is this. How do we stop doing everything manually just to bring new leads into the business? Because if you are constantly posting, replying, copying, pasting, following up, trying to remember who needs what, your lead generation process is probably taking way more time than it needs to. So today, let's make that easier, okay? No pressure, no overwhelm, just a simple, kind look at how automation can help you save time while still bringing in good leads. And always remember with automation, you decide, first of all, if you're going to use it at all, you don't have to use it. You decide the pace that things are being delivered, and you decide the language that's being used. It's your words, it's an extension of you, it does not replace you. So, why this matters in your business today. Lead generation is the front end of your business growth. It's how people find you, learn about you, and start moving toward a conversation with you. But for a lot of business owners, lead generation is messy. They're doing everything by hand. They're chasing every lead individually. They're repeating the same messages over and over and over again. And they're spending way too much time on tasks that should already be automated. That kind of process burns people out. It also puts doubt in the business owner's mind, like, people don't like my product. I can't get quality leads. I am not a good business person. Maybe I should just go get a job. Those thoughts start to come into your head when you struggle with this process and you get overwhelmed with the amount of manual work that you're doing. It also makes growth harder because the business owner becomes the bottleneck, right? You always have to deal with bottlenecks in your business. What if you're the bottleneck? And it's very hard for you to see sometimes when you're the bottleneck. And I want to gently remind you, if if that has been happening to you in your business, it does not mean you're failing. It just means that your systems need support. So, first, step one, identify where your lead generation is manual. Notice where you're doing repetitive work. One of the best ways to do this is just literally every 15 minutes of every business day or whenever you're working, because we don't just work a business day, do we? Sometimes. So whenever you're working, I see people nodding their heads. Every 15 minutes, you write down what you're doing. And over a 2 week period, if you can do it that long, it's the best. Then you'll start to see where you're doing repetitive tasks. You're doing the same thing. You're answering the same questions over and over. You're, going back and forth with people on time to schedule a meeting, things like that. And if you will track that, now that piece of advice comes from Dan Martell in the book, Buy Back Your Time. I highly recommend it. And I have a book report that I did on that book. If you want to find that on my YouTube channel, Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. So here's the first step. Start asking these questions. Where are my leads coming from? You really need to track exactly where they're coming from. For example, not just social media, but Facebook, LinkedIn, X, TikTok. You need to know exactly which platform they're coming from. And if you are very detail oriented, you could even track which post or which ad that lead came from. That is going to, in retrospect, give you a tremendous amount of information to know where to spend your time, energy, and focus in the future to get more of those high quality leads. So, what happens after they raise their hand and say, yeah, that's me, I want what you have? What happens in your business after that? What messages do I keep sending over and over and over? What tasks am I repeating manually every week? That's how that very first step, identifying those manual tasks. Because if you don't identify them and track them and measure them, you can't analyze them. And if you don't analyze them, you can't make improvements on them. You're just shooting in the dark, hoping the next thing you try is going to fix it, right? So this is so important because you can't automate what you have not mapped. So what we're talking about is mapping out the process. What is let's say you meet them at a networking event. What exactly happens to them and with them in your business? That's the map that we're talking about. So first, just observe. Maybe it's your form submissions, your DMs, your website inquiries. You're observing how people are finding you, how people are interacting with you. Is it social media comments, referrals, event signups? Hopefully you're having a nice mix of all these things. But watch where the leads are coming from at first, what's already happening. So wherever leads come in, there should be a simple path that follows. Again, people feel like when I say or someone says automation, it sounds complex. It sounds very technical and overwhelming to a lot of business owners. But it needs to be simple. It needs to be simple so it doesn't break for one thing, and so anyone on your team can understand it. And so if something does go wonky, you can pinpoint the location of that um, glitch or whatever technical issue immediately. All right, step two, automate the first response. Build your very first automated response. Set up an automatic, people call it a autoresponder email. That's probably a term you've heard. This is one of the easiest and most valuable places to start. And it feels like a nice little step, like a toe in the water to most business owners. When someone reaches out, signs up, or fills out a form, they should not sit there wondering if anyone saw it. So I've had this happen to me. I might even have bought something and then nothing happens on my computer screen, nothing happens. I don't even know where my money went, if it went anywhere, right? Do I have something coming my way or not? So you need to have it go for first straight to a page that says, "Thank you. We received your input. We not that's too um, too cold, but we thank you for filling out the form. We'll be in touch or look in your email for some more information. We're excited to serve you." Something like that. So they know that when they click that button, something did happen and that you're acknowledging that they asked for something from you. So a good automated first response can be a confirming receipt, like I just said, thanking them. You can do both of those in the same step. Tell them what happens next. Like I just said, check your email for more information. You're telling them what is happening next. You received an email. You could even tell them you're going to receive 3 more emails in the next 7 days to help you go through the steps in the process that we just gave you. Something like that. Tell them what's going to happen next and guide them toward the next step. Like I said, go check your email, right? Another thing when you say guide them to the next step, it could be download this document and it could be right there on the screen. Click here to proceed. That's what we mean when we say guide them toward the next step. And you do really have to tell people what to do. The button can be right there on the screen, and they are many people aren't going to click it unless you say click the button. It's kind of funny. So, this one simple step, that very first automated response, it saves time and creates a much better experience for the lead. This also helps you stay consistent even when you're busy, because this will respond to them when you're asleep. Again, we live in a global economy now. Many businesses you can find new leads 24/7. And you want and need to be able to step away from your business for hours or even days at a time, take an actual real vacation. You need to be able to respond to that lead immediately and acknowledge that they did interact with your company. So, this very first step, that toe in the water, is that very first response when someone interacts with you and maybe downloads your lead magnet. All right. Step 3. Route leads to the right place. Make sure they get directed properly. So, this is where your CRM and automation really start working together. And remember, a CRM is a client relationship management system. It's also called your client database, your leads, where your clients all kind of live and all their information is in there. So, this is where your CRM and your automation really start working together. You want each lead to go where it belongs based on which lead magnet that they clicked on or how they came into the process. For example, a referral would get a much different treatment than someone who you met at a speed networking event. See what I mean? So you put them in the right pipeline, you give them the right tag, you put them on the right list, smart list or segmented list, and you want them into the right follow-up sequence based on how they found you, what they've already done, what they're interested in your products and services. If every lead lands in the same bucket with no next step, your system is not helping you very much. But when lead routing is set up properly, you save yourself a lot of confusion later. And that means less manual sorting, less guessing, and fewer missed opportunities. Step 4, Use automation to start the nurture process. Okay, so we've already first acknowledged them and thanked them for their interest. And now we're going to start the nurture process. Let automation begin the nurturing for you. Again, you could be asleep, you could be ill, you could be with your family somewhere on a beach. Let this happen and let this start for you. This is where many people stop too soon. They collect the lead, maybe send one email, and then nothing else happens unless they remember to follow up manually. So that's where automation can take and make a big, huge difference for you and bring you lots of peace of mind. And in addition to more appointments on your calendar and more money in your bank account, right? So you can create a simple nurture steps. For example, a welcome message, which we talked about, a helpful follow up. And here's a really big hint. When we talked about lead magnets, one of the suggestions for your lead magnet title would be to have a number in it, 7 secrets or 5 steps or 3 magic something in the title of the lead magnet. And then you deliver, of course, those 3 or 7 or 5 things in the lead magnet. Well, that is the perfect opportunity for you to deliver 3 or 5 or 7 emails in sequence that mirror what was in the lead magnet, but you can expand on them a little bit. You don't want a book in these emails. You don't want to overwhelm someone with all of your knowledge because you know so much about the subject and you know how much they need what you have, but you have to curb your enthusiasm, but you can expand on each item that was on the free giveaway lead magnet and put it into a separate email. You're nurturing, educating, and delivering value at the same time. So that's first simple nurture steps: a welcome message, helpful follow up, a reminder about your offer, whatever your next step offer is, a value based email sequence. That's what I was just describing, or a check in after a few days. Okay, you got the checklist, you got the worksheet. How's it going for you? What's your favorite thing about it? Did you have any trouble using it? Right? Ask them. They will tell you. So this keeps the conversation going without requiring you to manually reach out to every single person one by one. All right. And that saves a lot of time. Step 5, remove the extra steps that waste time. Simplify the process. Sometimes the problem is not that you need more automation. Sometimes the problem is that the system has too many unnecessary steps. Maybe you were trying to cover every possible scenario and account for that in your process. And now it's just a monster, right? And it's very difficult for people on your team to use, and it's causing new leads to not feel cared for. Okay? So ask these questions. Do I really need this step? Can this be simplified? Is there a cleaner way to move a lead through this process? And am I making this harder than it needs to be? And we are guilty of that sometimes when we're so excited about delivering the value. A lot of lead generation systems become bloated over time. Remember, keep it simple as you can. The more bloated they become, the less time they save because you're constantly having to manage it. So simplicity is part of automation also. Okay, step 6, track what is working. Tracking is absolutely critical to success in business. You track all kinds of things, your sales, your length of time from lead to purchase. You track uh, all of your hours, you should be, or somehow you track the amount of effort and energy it takes to get someone through the process. And we now really want to track the results of our lead generation efforts. So here's what you want to know, what you're looking for. Here's what you want to know: where leads are coming from, Which sources are producing the high quality leads? And we alluded to that in the very first tip as well. If they're coming from LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok, and which ones are the most valuable leads. And so you need to track those things in order to discover that answer. Which messages are getting attention? A lot of times with business owners, they think, "Oh, everyone wants to hear about this." I've learned this lesson myself that I think, "Oh, everyone wants to hear about these," and I put a lot of content out there about it. And then I do content on one other subject and it blows up. And then I realize the public will tell you, your audience will tell you. So watch which messages are getting the most attention and watch where people are dropping off. At what point in the process are people they're dropping out and they're not completing and going finally through to a purchase. And that's going to tell you where you can make improvements in your process. That's a pipeline. This is how you improve the system over time. You watch for all those things and you make little corrections. It's like that airplane that takes off in LA and its destination is New York. They don't just set the course and leave it. They make tiny corrections all the way across the country. And then that plane lands exactly on the right runway in the right city because of tiny course corrections. That's what you want to do here too. It's all about creating a smarter process because automation is not just about saving time. When you know what's working, you can stop wasting time on the parts that aren't working. Step 7, build a system that supports your capacity. Make sure the system supports your real life, not what you think it should be, but what your life really is. You have limitations. You have areas where you could expand. You need a system that's going to work with your real life and not the life maybe you wish you had. So build it with that in mind. This is so important. If your business is already full, your lead generation should not create more stress. Okay? It should support you. The goal is not to add more work. The goal is to reduce the work it takes to bring in and organize leads. And I say quantify them at the same time. Qualify and quantify them at the same time. You can be bringing in leads that are not ideal at this moment, not ready to buy right now. You can process them in one direction. The people who are giving signals that they're ready to buy right now, they come in a different direction. And that will save you a lot of time, attention, and focus. So if your current process is draining you, this is a sign to simplify, automate, and clean it up. If lead generation has felt like one more thing you have to do by hand, I want you to know there is a better way. Start with the basics. Identify the main steps, automate the first response, route leads properly, begin the nurture process, remove unnecessary steps from your system, and track what is working. That's how you save time and make the front end of your business more supportive. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this gave you a little more clarity and a lot more relief. We are building systems that help you grow without exhausting you, one step at a time. All right. So we have some people in the audience today, and I'm so excited to see everyone here. And this is the Q&A period. It's kind of an ask me anything systems related. So you do not have to ask a question about what I just taught on. You can ask whatever question is burning on your mind. I have our resident expert tech person, David Levine, and cybersecurity here with me. And we together can answer just about any question you probably can ask because he's also a Go High Level agency owner. That means he knows about the CRM systems that I was just talking about. Also, to be on this call and to get your questions answered, you do not have to be using any specific CRM. You don't even have to be using one. A lot of people come here because they don't know which one to buy. They don't know even if they need one yet in their business. Some feel like they've outgrown their system or it's just not serving them well and they don't know which direction to go in. There are a lot of reasons to be here. And also, you can watch all the replays from the previous weeks in my YouTube channel, and that is Your Funnel Godmother on YouTube. So sometimes we get questions in email. People can't be here live in person. And so they send questions ahead of time so I can answer them on email. David gets questions also in email. And so we can answer those here as well. So I will give our guest first opportunity. Kim, thank you for being here. Did you bring any questions today about systems?
Well, I don't know that I have questions. I've heard much of what you've said before, like you have to track things and you have to not really get at that. And I am doing things all manually right now. I would love to have some automation. So, definitely it's a thought that's on my mind. And when you started talking today, I just put it out there for everybody else to join you. So,
Oh, thank
so I
you.
think I mean, because this is such a topic that I think everybody that I work with in my group,
Hmm.
so whether they're under me, side of me, above me, whatever, they want help with this because
Yeah.
we are constantly doing the same thing kind of over and over,
Hmm.
I am pretty good at being organized, so for the most part my memory is pretty good. If somebody calls me out of the blue, I know I can remember who they are, unless
Yeah.
I don't know. I do have quite a few customers and things like that, but most of the times I'll remember, what their issues were and so on and so forth. But uh I don't know. It just would be really nice to have things automated. And I did have a website at one point that if people entered stuff, there was an automatic answer and an automatic email. They got on a list, but I haven't done that in a while. So it's making me think that maybe I need to do that.
All right. Well, good. I'm glad we planted some ideas and actually I feel like we like you said we reinforced some things you already knew. And the nice thing is you can take it one step at a time. You're already thriving in business and you're doing a lot of manual work. So you can automate one thing at a time
Right.
and you don't have to completely overhaul your business. That would feel very, very overwhelming to a lot of people. Other people are like, let's do it. Rip off the band-aid, let's just change everything all at one time because to them it feels like why change something now and then get used to it and then change something again and then change something again. So everybody has their own tolerance for change and their own speed at which they want to implement something like automation.
Right. And now with AI out there, there's so much more you can do, which is crazy.
Yes, that
Um,
is so true.
I just wanted to make a comment on your background there
Yes.
because we're not seeing your full screen. So when you
Yes.
said take a shot of the QR code, we don't see
Yes,
the whole thing, so I'm not
that's
sure.
why I had to
Oh, you
provide
had
this
it,
today.
you lifted it. Well, I wasn't looking when you did that, so.
Oh, okay. And we will go ahead and leave this up here. And the reason is because Zoom is playing tricks on me today. I do have
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
I do
Okay.
have this on my background. You can see it barely right
Yes.
there. And
Yep.
Zoom and my green screen both are being mischievous today.
I
So
see. I
that's why
gotcha.
my
All right.
screen is
Okay.
cut down.
All right. Perfect.
So yes, that QR code is for people who maybe you can't join live and you're seeing this on the replay. You can sign up, then you'll be able to see all the replays. Of course, they're on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist
Hmm.
called Systems Rescue
Rescue.
Power
Plan.
Hour
Mhm.
playlist, and they'll just play one after another, or you can
Nice.
select one all by itself and watch it. So, thank you, Kim, for now. Here, let me ask you, because I didn't really hear a specific direct question, but to clarify, you are in a your company provides your CRM for you, right?
Uh,
Where you keep
well,
your
yes.
client
So if
list.
you are, yes, if you're ordering from the company, you'll get automatic responses and emails and things like that. Yes. So,
So,
so what's interesting is um on our business call or whatever, like if people are hearing it for the first time, I do put up Kiyosaki's quadrant, and
mhm.
most people are on the left side, so they're either an employee or they like own a business. And on the right side are somebody who owns a system. And so that's kind of, we can say we own a system
Yep,
because it's working, it's automated, so we don't even have to worry about packaging product, whatever, just, they do it for us. So,
that is exactly true. Yes.
yeah. Hmm.
And a lot of people feel like, well, with the Funnel Godmother, I customize your CRM for you. I build these systems, and then they say to me, "Yeah, but this is my company gave me this system, so you probably can't help me with it."
Well,
And I know, and I liken that to where if I was a car mechanic and I could fix your car, and then someone would say, "Oh yeah, but this is a company car, so you probably can't." So it's just comical to me because they all do the same thing.
yeah, yeah.
And I am blessed to be certified in the overarching system of automation and integration, and so that I can work in any database system out there. It's
Hmm.
just a matter of I know what needs to happen. I need to get from point A to point B, and these are the steps, but I have to find the buttons and figure out where they put things and how they arranged it so then I can get on the
Right.
superhighway and get it done. So if you, let's, I've worked in Mary Kay's database, Malaluka's database, other kinds of databases where people are a representative of the company and they have access to it, but they don't know how to use it really to get the power out of it because a lot of them have a lot of power in them.
Wow. Yeah. And well,
Mhm.
I definitely know where you're coming from, and how you can help people because, like I said, I do spend a lot of time trying to get leads and like individually calling, individually whatever. So writing emails and stuff like that. So if that could actually be automated, it would be really, really nice, So definitely helpful. And I think like I have something called power hours every week where other
Ah,
business partners come and we just have focused work, so we're reaching out, we're doing those things. But can you imagine if I didn't have to have those anymore, that it was just automatically
yeah,
done for me? I mean, I
yeah.
love the power hours because I get
Right.
kind of like rejuvenated because the other people are on with me. We're all working together. But it's just, it'd be nice if it was um, done already. You know what I'm saying? So very nice.
Um, I wanted to see if David had. I've really dominated the conversation so far. So, welcome, David. Thank you for being here today. Did you have any comments or something to add to the discussion here about leads, automation in the lead generation?
Well, I think you hit all the major high points about it. And like you said, it's, having your system set so when they're filling out a particular form, and I'll add my 2 cents to what I do because I've historically been bad about asking people if they can be put on my mailing list. So I've now made it where all my forms have a little disclaimer saying that, hey, by submitting this, you're agreeing to get that. So there is kind of that built-in nurture piece, even though it may not necessarily be a specific piece, but I do have a process in place to do my monthly and weekly newsletters. So those go out. So that's one way, I'm staying in front of people, even if there's not a specific dedicated nurture sequence. So that's one thing I'll throw out there. If maybe you don't know what to do, but if you're doing a newsletter, or even if you're not doing a newsletter, I always advise doing one as well because it's just another way, to stay in front of people. And your newsletter doesn't have to just be business focused. And Rita, I'm trying to remember if you are getting my emails, but if you are, you've probably noticed that one that goes out at the beginning of every month, is not all tech in there. There's some
Yes.
fun stuff in there, like these other quote unquote holidays. We usually put a fun fact in there. So we try and make it, enjoyable. And so it's not just business, but, it's, trying to liven it up a little bit. So, think a little bit outside the box and what you can do to, kind of get people's attention or make them look forward to getting your newsletter, whenever it comes out.
So I'll tell you, I think you said the magic word for a lot of people. I, I, I said autoresponder, you said newsletter. I think most business owners feel strongly that they need both of those. So, how would you suggest someone who's dipping the toe in the water right now, how would they get started with a newsletter that they can manage, and how often would they send it?
If you're getting started, because you want to be consistently in front of people, I would say once a month, just a single newsletter once a month to get started should be more than enough. And again, I'm going to say this is very broad in general, but it will probably take you no more than 2 hours of time to put together. That includes finding and curating content. If you got sources like I do, where you kind of got a lot of pre-done content that all you have to do is just, kind of rebrand and put in your own voice. That's great. That'll even save you even more time. Um, but there are tools out there that can help you come up with content, or, if you know your industry, the industry you're serving, go find some relevant articles and then either write your own commentary or say, hey, go find your favorite AI tool and be like, hey, I want to write a summary or some commentary about this article as it relates to my audience, and this is my audience, and do it in our brand voice. And that could be an easy way to get content because, again, AI is your friend. AI, if you do it right, you think of it like just another employee or intern who can help get a lot of that grunt work done that you may not like to do. And I use AI heavily when I create my newsletter content because I take a lot of this pre-canned stuff that I get and pay for and, rebrand it into our own brand voice.
Yeah. And technically or mechanically, how you would build a newsletter specifically would be you need a delivery method. And your CRM, your software that you use to run your business with that contains your client list, most of those have an email system where you can send emails to people. That's the module or the function that you would use to send the newsletter. Most of them also will let you save the newsletter as a template. So you don't have to create it with all the colors and graphics every month. No, 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 no. That would be too much work. Plus, you want it to look exactly the same every month. So you create it once the way you want it with the holes where you're going to put in articles and bits of news. And then you save that as a template. So every month when you go back in, you just open the template and you pop in the news or the articles that you are wanting to include this month. I feel like a lot of people that have seen newsletters and enjoyed them have had that thought, I don't know how I would ever do this every month. Well, that's one way. You build a template and then you get information from the world of your business world, your industry. You get that collected and then you put it into your newsletter in your own voice. You write it for yourself.
Yeah, and also I don't know if you mentioned it, but I know you've been talking about having those forms and doing some lead gen. Just make sure that you have some checkbox or something that they're acknowledging and opting in to receive your emails because the newsletters because you don't want to be sending the people unsolicited.
Absolutely. That is a whole can of worms that we could address in a probably a series of 3 or 5 of these weeks. But he is absolutely right. When you decide that you're going to use your CRM to send out emails to people automatically, which is exactly what we're talking about here, you must get their permission. And it's very simple to do that. And you just include it on the form that they're filling out when they give you their name and email. And people are very much accustomed to this. Business people, they understand that they're going to get emails from you. They should be wanting emails from you because they have signed up for to receive education and information from you. So, but yeah, you need to get their information, or I'm sorry, their permission. And of course, David and I, we know exactly how to do that. That's a whole piece of the services that we provide. And we know how to keep you safe on the internet. And so you're not breaking the rules because there are rules about sending emails. Don't want you to be so intimidated that you say, oh, I'm not going to do that. It's manageable, definitely manageable. So, David, did you have any questions from your audience this week that you wanted to answer?
No specific questions, but I'll bring up because actually I have a couple clients that we are actually implementing CRMs for them currently. And so just understanding and just from my observations working with them that every system is different. And I got one that's actually transitioning from a legacy CRM to go high level and something more modern. And just understand that things may not look the same, they may function a little differently, but you need to evaluate if you're on something older and just because you've been using it and it works doesn't necessarily mean it's still serving your business in the way it should be because business evolves, things change, and if your software is not adjusting for the current environment, it could actually be doing more harm than good for your business. And what I'll say about this particular client is they're in commercial real estate, so they manage contacts, different companies, whether it's, clients, tenants, buyers, whatever the case may be, as well as facilities. And so their old system doesn't really have the flexibility for all that to be separated out. But in the new system and go high level, we're able to actually do that and then create those associations. So now they can truly have, multiple facilities tied to a contact or multiple facilities tied to a company or multiple contacts tied to a company. So those are little nuances that think about how your business operates and what is the relationship between these various parts that you work with. And that is a factor that should also influence your choice of CRM system. Can it actually adapt to the way your business operates? You do not want to adapt your business to the software. It should be the software should be able to adapt to your business.
Absolutely. And I'll say this as well. This has come up before. When to switch your CRM, you just gave a couple very good examples of when to consider switching, but also when you switch to a CRM, it can be painful. It is a business disruption. You want to minimize that as much as possible, but the point is you don't want to do it again and again and again as you grow. You want to find a system that's not going to just be this much better, but this much better. That way you can grow into it and you won't have to switch CRMs again in a year or two because you don't have to do that anymore. Your CRM continues. For example, we both use Go High Level, and they are making improvements on it every month. So that system is growing faster than than I and my clients can use up all of the new features. So that is a good thing. And as we grow in our businesses, it is going to keep up with us and be the resource that we need. So you don't want to buy a system that's just a tiny bit better than the one you currently have. You want to buy one that has the features you're going to need. So you don't have to switch again in a little while. All right, so I have email question. This is from Larry in Nebraska. And he wants to know, okay, look, I got my lead magnet last week. I got my automation that very first little bit. Now I'm getting that from you. But when you talk about the nurture emails or the drip campaign, which is another term, same thing, nurture emails and the drip campaign, drip emails, what what's the frequency that I need to be sending these out? And there's a lot of discussion about it, and a couple of guidelines would be what you can handle in your company, what you can keep up with, and then also what the frequency that your customer wants. So I have recently changed a different makeup company, and I will tell you, they email me at least 4 times a week, and they text me almost every day, which seems like it would be too much. It seems to me like, because I never thought I always thought I would be frustrated with that and maybe stop using it that because of that much. However, that company it does not annoy me. I ignore the text or the emails until I see something that entices me, and then I'll open one and I might order the thing that they're putting on sale that day. And so it depends on the product and the way and the means of how you're talking to them, if it's how they like to receive from you. And the only way to know that is a lot of times you can ask them. You can put questions in your emails. Do you like this or this? And they'll click, and then you can measure that again, gather data, measure the data, and then build your system based on what your clients and your audience is telling you that they like. Again, this person is sending me so many texts and emails. I really thought that any sane person would be frustrated with them and opt out, but it hasn't bothered me nearly as much as I expected. However, you can annoy your customers. You just need to know. On one hand, you need to know what they want and how often. On the other hand, you need to be providing value on a regular basis. You need to be consistent. If someone opts out of your email series or unsubscribes, don't get your feelings hurt. That is actually a good sign because that's telling you that it's just not right for them right now. Someday their lives will change. They'll circle around, they'll find you again, they'll join your list again. But you definitely don't want people on your list that you're sending emails to and text messages who aren't opening them, aren't reading them. They don't want them because that is what spammers do. Spammers send emails to people who don't want them and don't open them and don't engage. And if you're doing that, then you're going to look like a spammer. And then Google, Yahoo, Microsoft, they're going to say, oh, this is a bad player here. We're going to put him in the spam folder, right? And you do not want that. I just went off on about 3 different subjects right there.
Well, here, I'll give you some examples that may help clarify, because these are some things that I've actually done in practice based on kind of what you said. So I used to have multiple emails for like small, and they were like small bite-sized little pieces. And again, I'm talking more of the newsletter, but this can also still apply to your drip emails potentially, depending on how you're doing and what you need to do. But I got to the point where there was like so many things, and I kept getting new little tidbits to send out, and And I'm kind of like this where I don't like to get a whole bunch of email, from any one person because I get a ton as it is already is, and I'm sure a lot of business owners are in the same boat. So I had an epiphany and realized, well, all of these little things that I send on a weekly basis, why can't I just condense it into one kind of more cohesive, unified, better looking weekly newsletter? So that's how my weekly newsletter was born, from all these small little things I was constantly sending out. And it actually made less work for me because now there's less things to track, simplified my list management in that regard. And so I have, a weekly, and then I have two different monthly newsletters that go out, and each has a slightly different focus. And then when you're talking about people unsubscribing, I make individual lists for those. So I've actually designed my system where I got rid of the system level global unsubscribe, which means you can't send them anything. But now for each newsletter list, there is a unsubscribe link just for that. Then I have an unsubscribe link for all my newsletters, but I never in my email put the global unsubscribe, because if you do that, you couldn't even send them like account notifications or any other notification that is account or maintenance related. The only time they can access that if they click the unsubscribe from all newsletters. Then there's another option on that page where they can unsubscribe from everything. But I try and
Mm.
make that more difficult to get to, because you still want and probably need the ability to send account updates, but if they do that global option, you'll never be able to do that. So that's something else
Yes.
to keep in mind. and
Yes.
and there was another point I wanted to make that you said something, but I think it was probably around the list management. And I know about specific Go High Level, they've implemented like a new feature because they used to not have that before. But again, just because a feature exists, still look at it in detail as well, because it still may not do exactly everything you want. So even though I know that's there, I've opted to keep my custom setup that I've had for years, just because I do retain full control. And I know over time, those features will continue to get enhanced. So
Hmm.
that's the other thing to the Rita, your point you made earlier about, Go High Level constantly adding features. It does seem like every time you turn around, there's something new. In fact, I just discovered yesterday, because I started getting a lot of, um, I don't know if I call them spam calls, but to my Go High Level number from fax machines. And I figured out there's now an option I can block those inbound calls in the CRM.
Ah, nice. Nice. Oh, yeah. And speaking of the unsubscribe, it is required to be in the footer of the email, of any marketing email, and a good CRM system will have that there for you, and they will manage that and take care of marking that contact when they click it. However, along the lines of what David had said, he built his own system, and there are levels of unsubscribe. One thing I like, and a lot of my customers do this, they'll start off the email at the top with, if you don't want to receive more emails about this particular subject, click here. If you don't want any more emails from me at all, click here. And it's just right there before the body of the email even starts.
Hmm.
So they don't miss it. Because a lot of people don't know that the unsubscribe is at the bottom. The only thing they know to do to make it stop is mark it spam. And that is a horrible thing to happen to you when you're the email sender. For someone to, they don't know any other way to make it stop except for to click the spam button. And the email providers, they make that so prominent now. As soon as you open the email, there's like, is this spam? Mark this spam if you want to. So people know that that will make it stop. So some of my customers prefer to put that first little blurb in there to say, for example, I send email reminders so you can remember to be here. If you don't want any more emails about the Systems Rescue Power Hour, click here. If you don't want any more emails from me at all, click here. And almost always people will click the first one because they don't want the nuclear war, kind of destruction that happens when they click the other one. They just want to make it stop whatever's happening right now. So that's another option that we have. And we can build that right in when we're building your system too, as
Hey,
well.
Rita, can I actually share in like an examp so people can see a visual of what I'm talking
Yes.
about?
Very good. Do I need to give you permission?
No, I've got permission.
Okay.
So I know it's probably gonna look a little small because I have a larger screen, but I'll zoom in so you can see it. So I do mine slightly differently. And I just opened up from my archive page, but you can see that I always have a, view in browser. If they can't read it, they can see past issues at our archive page, but I put in red text. I tell them the unsubscribe is at the bottom of the page, but marking spam will prevent others from getting this information. So I
Oh, I
do
like
that.
that.
And that way it just keeps the newsletter from having a ton of links at the top, because I don't
Nice.
want people just to be inundated with links. But then at the bottom, as I scroll down, um, oh, well, actually, you can't see it in this view because I take it off so people can't do it. Give me one sec. Let me go to a different view for that. Okay, can
Now
you
I
see the
see it.
updated screen?
Yes,
I do.
yes.
Okay. So this is what I was talking about. So this is what I call my general newsletter. So this is the one that goes out at the beginning of every month. And so there's a link here. And then here's the link where they can get off all newsletters. And the way I've done this, because I know a lot of email security systems will do what's called link detonation, meaning they'll check every link to check, from a security standpoint. And if your unsubscribe links are just automatic, you know, sometimes those systems will unsubscribe, and that was an issue I had.
Oh,
So
sure. Okay.
so when you click, well, it's a preview, so it's not going to work. But if it was in your inbox, it would just open up a web page with a simple form that all you have to do is type in your email address and hit unsubscribe.
Hmm.
Very nice. And in that way, they can't accidentally click unsubscribe as well, the nuclear one, right?
Right. Well, I don't even put the nuclear one in my
I
newsletter.
see that. I see that. Yeah. So I have one more question from Lorelei in Illinois. And I love this question because she said, all right, when I first meet somebody, got a brand new lead, how much should I be calling them and how am I going to get them to remember me that they met me and make a really strong, good impression on them without bothering them. So I am a firm believer in 7 touches within the first 48 hours, which may sound extremely a lot, right? I see Kim's face. Whoa. So here's what I mean though, a touch. A touch is a way for them to see your company name, your name again in the first 48 hours. So you send them that initial email that we talked about that we built today, that autoresponder. And they're probably going to get your download, which they already asked for, so that's 2. You can call them if you have their phone number. You can text them if you have their phone number, and you can connect with them on social media. Look for them on the platforms. They're not going to come to you. You have to go look for them, connect with them on the platforms, and go to their website, check out their website, and fill out their contact form so they know you were there. And now my mind just went blank on the 7th way. So email, text, phone call, and going and connecting with them on social media. Well, I believe that I had YouTube separate from social media because when you go to their YouTube channel, you can subscribe, you can react and thumbs up some videos, watch them for more than a couple minutes, watch enough of the video to that you become a statistic for them. And so those are 7 ways in the first 48 hours that you can touch a new lead, and none of it will be overwhelming. Some of it's in the background, but they will see, oh, this person friended me on Facebook. This person wants to connect on LinkedIn. That is not annoying at all. Going to their YouTube channel, watching videos and subscribing and thumbs up their videos. That is not annoying at all. They're going to appreciate that. And while you're on LinkedIn and Facebook, if you get to their page, comment on some of their posts, and a valuable comment, not just like great with a thumbs up. You make a comment that's at least 8 or 9 words. And if you can ask a question in the comment, that's going to be extra valuable. So that's 7 touches you can do in the first 48 hours that's going to help that person remember that they met you. You're going to give them engagement on their social and on their YouTube, and that they're going to appreciate that and they're going to remember you better.
So something else I like to add to that, and you kind of got two flavors of this because sometimes, like if you're still going out there meeting people in person, I always still advocate for having a memorable business card because even though we like to maybe do stuff digitally, and there's a lot of people nowadays who don't have, but I always still have a physical card because it gets reactions from people and people remember it.
Oh, that's cute. Yep, I have my picture on my card.
Yeah, but again, if you really
Yep.
want to stand out, don't just have the standard, oh, I have a, rectangular business card like everyone else. You'll get lost in someone's stack of
Mm-hmm.
cards.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll run into people even from years prior that'll be like, "Oh yeah, you're the guy with that cool laptop looking business card." So
That
you
is
want,
very cool.
Oh,
I
and then
I
when
was
love
trying
that.
to figure out what it was, but when you said it laptop, I'm like, oh, that's what that is. It's got a keyboard
That
and
is
everything. That's cute.
fantastic.
But
I've
the
seen,
other benefit is it can tent, so you can stand it up. Like if I ever wanted to
Sure.
sponsor something, you can have it like almost like the little place cards. But at the same time, I also come with a digital card, which is again is where this QR code goes. I also have that on here as well in one of these QR codes. So people can also instantly get a digital copy of my information and I can get theirs as well. So when someone doesn't have a business card, I still have a way right then and there to get them. And then we get a little bit of immediate nurturing because they're going to get a text and an email with my information as well as a V card with my information.
fantastic. It's funny, as I've known David for years on Zoom and I've never seen his business card. That is genius. Genius.
That is,
And
I love
now
it.
mine has really thick paper, really, really thick paper. And then it has foil, colored foil edge. But it's still not like a laptop. That is so cool.
Rita, you need to make cards that are like a little mini fairy wand or something.
A wand or a crown. Like I think a die cut across the top like a crown.
Yeah, yeah, because you want something that's going to stand out. So when someone's trying to like stack all the cards, like, why is this one not going? And they'll pull it
Yep.
out and maybe stick it on top or in its own
Yeah,
little
lately
special
I've
spot.
seen the perfect square, which you're right, it's annoying because it doesn't fit in the stack, and a circle. I've seen the circle. And oh look at that. Okay. So yes, people are getting creative and it's memorable. So uh definitely think about doing that when you are meeting people in person. Well, everyone, thank you for being here today. This replay is going to be on my YouTube channel. There's a playlist called Systems Rescue Power Hour, and you'll be able to watch the whole thing. And you can join in the future by using this QR code. I'll leave this up here for another second. So you can scan this QR code. You can register, give me your name and email and phone number if you want. And that way I can send you reminders. Only one on Wednesday and one on Thursday that we're getting started. So not a whole bunch of reminders. So that way you won't ever miss the really great tips and the training that we're doing every week. And if you do, then you just go to my YouTube channel and watch the playlist. Your Funnel Godmother is the YouTube channel. Bye bye.